All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the elect of Yasha, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, as well as the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, preaching and prophesying through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, in truth and sincerity, as well as the women and as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nations are of the nation of Israel on their father's side by blood. And I wanted to get into lesson dealing with the digital identification. And what's crazy is I asked ChatGPT the same question, and it gave me similar. Well, I guess when I asked it on my phone, it gave me more detail than when I asked it on my computer. But it kind of summed it up, so I decided to just take the screenshots on my phone. And what I did is I just took the screenshots of the question that I asked and then the summary, and it's just going to show you that, people can believe what they want to believe. People can believe what they want to believe, And I say that to say we have this world where people feel like if they don't believe something will happen, then it won't happen. Which at the end of the day is pride, especially when it comes to the will of YAHAWASHI, destiny, prophecy, all the above. It's things, there's things that was written that, well, before we come here, what is that? 46:10, I believe. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, yep. This is Isaiah 46:10. It says, remember, Salakia, let's go to 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me. And that's why you have to consider history. What's that? Let me see that quote. Those. This is it's a phrase. It says, history doomed to repeat it originates from the philosopher George Santayana, who wrote, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. All right. And meaning you should learn from your mistakes, And here's a little more clear quote of it. It says, those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it, And it's telling you to learn from your mistakes, man. All right. Even the fact that through the spirit of YAHAWASHI, we're in this mindset today where we read about our history as Israelites, how we constantly rebelled against the Heavenly Father. We read about the men who stood stiffly for the Lord. We read about the men who ministered and served the Lord, or served YAHAWASHI, how they operated in the things that were done wrong, and we remember those former things and we learn of them, as the scriptures say in Romans 15:4, the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning, right? Same as this society, you have multiple societies who have tried to bring about a new world or a one world government, bringing everybody together when the Lord The Lord put everybody in their land, you know. All right. So we supposed to learn from history, you know, but this place doesn't. It just keeps trying and trying and trying. Well, what we're going to try to do is serve YAHAWASHI in truth and sincerity until we're perfected. You know, we're going to strive for perfection until we receive perfection. And we're not going to receive perfection until we get the new covenant, because we are not under that right now. I'm going to read it again. Isaiah 46:9. It says, remember the former things of old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning and the ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So the Lord already declared the end from the beginning. All right. And that's why you see more and more things happening, like, especially with news. You get to the point where news is just constantly popping up. And it's similar articles. You know, you either seeing Nero and his administration, you know, them being, I've never seen so much news popping up about a president in years prior. All right, you'll see a lot of technology advancements articles, and then outside of that, you see the chaos that's going on, you know, predominantly within America. All right, I'm not saying nothing else is happening outside, but Americans, just dealing with Americans, they're starting to lose it, right? And they're just starting to react off emotion and you know, lack of resources or food being too high, them not being able to get their benefits from the government. Well, at this point, you know, the government is even shut down. All right, so here it is. Hey, 2025 has been it's been a hell of a year, man. And it all kickstarted in 2020. That was the complete shakeup. You know, things settled for the most part, you know, but that blender got back going on high in 2025, and it ain't looking like it's slowing down. So that's where we at, man. The Lord does what he wants, because he like he said, there's none else beside him. Okay, and then, well, I would say the Most High does what he wants, and he's giving everything into the hand of Yahawashi, who is in the same like mind. You know, he's a true soldier. He's going to carry out the mission of his father. All right. So this is Romans 3:3. It says, for what if some did not believe, right? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? And that's the thing. Well, let me read 4. It says, Most High forbid. Yeah, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know what's happening, don't care to know what's happening, or they don't believe what is looking like is going to happen is not going to happen, i.e. the RFID CHIP being the MOTB. You know, they don't really look at that like, everybody is kind of switching over to digital. Just look at everything. A lot of things are no longer hands-on. You go to the store, you can just tap your phone. You can tap your card. You got certain cards that don't even have PIN codes. Okay. You have you don't use DVDs as much anymore. So it's a lot of things that just is digital. All right. And that's where the world is leading to. So I want to get into a couple of these screenshots. So this is the question I asked. How many countries and states have issued a digital ID? It's an excellent question and an increasingly important one as the world moves toward digital identity systems for access to services, travel, and online verification. Right? This is GPT. It says, let's break it down clearly as of 2025. All right. And then the summary came out to be around 100 countries have digital ID systems in place or being rolled out. Full digital ID wallet coming by 2026. That's the EU. All right. Which we know the EU is what? EU is part of that beast. All right. That dragon with the 10 heads. The 7 heads and the 10 horns. Okay. You got India's Aadhaar remains the world's largest. All right, amongst the digital ID systems. And then it says U.S. about 20 plus states have or are piloting digital driver's license / IDs, but there's no national ID yet because what they're doing as of now is they're leaving it up to the states. All right, I do want to look up that word pilot, see if I can find the same definition I did last night. All right, so you have person who operates flying controls. No. It says test a plan, project, etc. before introducing it more widely. All right. Like it says in an example, other schools were piloting such courses, and that's what that's doing. They're trying it out. They're coming up with certain ideas and trying it out just a little bit. That's why it's 20 out of the 50. But I'm gonna ask Chat GPT the same question next year, if it's the Lord's will. Man, I'm gonna ask her the same question and see what she says about 2026. And I'm pretty sure the numbers is going to be changed because one of the questions I asked, one of them speak about 2026 or maybe it was that again. We'll see. All right, so it said, so the next question I asked, which countries don't use digital identification? Good question, and a really interesting one in 2025 since digital ID adoption has become nearly global. So you can't sit here and let's get that precept real quick. Hey, call all YAHAWASHI out shy. We can't sit here and say this person or that person is going to enact it and that is exactly what's going to happen to make it come about and make it global. No, we prophesy in part and know in part, man. And I mean through the spirit of YAHAWASHI out shy with brothers being on the hunt and heads being on the swivel. There's more than enough convincing information of what's coming down the pipe and what their plans are with it. All right. So this is Revelations 13:16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that's another reason why, well, you have it to where they put the chip in your right hand, and then you have it to where they got the Neuralink, the Elon Musk and these people with the brain chips in them, and it's allowing them to control cursors on the computer. It's allowing them to be able to use their bodies again. It's happening into their nervous systems. All right. So this is him playing God. Okay. This is him playing the Messiah in him and his miracles. All right. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, and that's what's going to be the killer. Because, and I'm predominantly speaking about Americans. America's they gonna line up for this thing because the squeeze is happening. They're already complaining about there's no jobs. They're complaining about being laid off. They're complaining about the high prices in gas and food and rent. What you think? It's not like the prices is going to come down. So when they start to become truly unbearable, people are going to lose it, right? And then that's the perfect time to bring in the solution. Oh yeah, by the way, just the scenario of how it can go about. Okay. It says, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So that, that beast and that system, the image of the beast, their whole philosophy, their whole new world order that they're trying to establish and go about. All right. And best believe, as it said, this thing is, it's as it said, it's becoming nearly global. It says, while most nations have at least announced a digital identification system, there are still a number that don't have an operational one or have very limited or pilot programs only. Let's break this down. In the summary of it, it says around 100 countries have implemented or are rolling out digital IDs. Roughly 40 to 50 countries still lack a full national digital ID. Most due to instability, limited infrastructure, or privacy concerns. And that's the thing, is they're not just going to do it. You have certain, you having countries who have it and countries who don't have it, but eventually all countries are going to have it. Eventually all countries are going to be mandatory. I believe that's the next question. It says major holdouts due to developed nations without a single ID. It says United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So it's just a few for the most part that's still out there, and due to it not being nationalized within there. All right. Now, what's the next one? It says, would you like me to list which countries have made digital ID mandatory for citizens and which keep it voluntary? That's another major global dividing line. And I put yes. It says perfect. Here's a clear global picture as of 2025. And now you have the summary of that. It says mandatory about 60 to 70 countries, mostly in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Now, especially dealing, with China, them having, well, that might be one of the questions. Yep, that's the next question, actually. So I'll just deal with that. But you see, there's more countries that are mandatory than there are voluntary, So as of now, it's not mandatory everywhere. But remember, we just read, he calls it all, both small and great, because they're going to make it mandatory. Now, for the most part, it will be up to you whether you choose it or not. Ultimately up to YAHAWASHI. That's why we pray and hope that he covers us and he keeps his spirit upon us in those times, because it says, dang, why did it always do that? All right. This is Revelations 3 and 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So everybody's going to be tried and tested. Gonna have lack of resources. You ain't gonna be ate in a couple of days. Electricity gonna be off. Possibly EMPs, foreign troops. When there's so much going on, you can only deal with so much, unless you're covered by YAHAWASHI, man. Okay. That's why it's imperative to do what we supposed to be doing, and constantly praying and hoping that YAHAWASHI covers us. So as you can see, 60 to 70 countries, it is mandatory, and about 40 is voluntary, which is temporarily, Now, the next question was, would you like me to show which countries connect their digital ID to biometrics, fingerprints, facial scans, etc.? And I put yes. It says, great. Let's break down which country use biometric data. All right. So the summary of that, 85 to 90 countries use biometric data as part of their national or digital ID system. Around 30 to 40 countries, mostly Western democracies, do not use biometrics in a centralized way, preferring decentralized or voluntary verification, which that's only for now. You got them talking about the stable coin. They done rolled in. I think that was as of May for you to have a real ID. You can't really do too much traveling without a real ID. All right. It says a stable coin is a type of cryptocurrency designed to maintain a stable value, typically pegged to a traditional asset like the US dollar. Unlike volatile cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, stable coins aim to offer price stability for use in transactions, payments, and trading with the crypto ecosystem. So it's like, hey, ultimately, let's get rid of this dollar. Now, like I was saying earlier, you have to have that gradualism. They're not just going to drop everything on you all at once. But we are getting to the point where more and more of these countries are becoming, are rolling out digital IDs, because that's the goal, to put all your information on that chip and have ultimate control over you. All right, just shut it down. Yeah, it comes with their little convenience. Oh, you ain't gotta wait, and it's the same as at an amusement park, Worlds of Fun. They got the fast lane where you can pay extra to just skip everybody in line. You have it to where when you go to Sam's, if you pay digital, pay without your card, you can just pay on your phone. As you're going through the store, you just scanning things and you paying for it. Well, you scan everything and it give you the total, and then you click pay, and then you walk through the little scanner, and it'll pretty much read your receipt and everything, and it'll show that you purchased the stuff that's in your cart. So you understand how convenient that'll be. You just going through the store and boom, boom, So it's like, if you ain't got that's how they'll roll the chip in, man. The ones with it, you can just go through this line, and then the other ones who don't got it gotta sit in the long ass line over there. There's no patience in America, So there're gonna be, many avenues, and angles that they're gonna come about bringing in this C-hip, man, and it's just call all y'all BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. We at the end of this thing, we at the end, and that's why things is getting tighter, and that squeeze that's happening. So, Lord willing, we allowed to continue to have the spirit of Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI resting upon us, as well as having a mindset of being pilgrims. Not wanting more than we. Dang, I don't know. I had a way I wanted to say it in my mind. It was real crisp, But pretty much, I'll put it like this way. Just having a conversation with the brother the other day, being appreciative of what Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI has given us, man. He's given us what we need. He's given us our daily bread. That's all we require to have. So anything extra is it's a Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, Hey, so with that, Lord willing, you was edified, and Lord willing, we allowed to endure into the end. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.